Morning everyone, this is January in Kent. It's really quite chilly, so I'm just going to give you an update of what I'm doing this morning. So first of all, my composter. We've just dug out some of the compost that's well rotted down and put that on the allotment to obviously to give it some nutrients. What we're now going to do is we're going to move each pile of all the things we've been composting into the next pile. And what this does, it helps it break down, so eventually if you keep moving it and putting air into it, it will turn into compost which you can put on your allotment, which will feed your plants. So we'll show you some after pictures once we've done that. If we move down the allotment and show you what we're doing, you can see the rhubarb is actually starting to sprout, but it'll be a couple of months before we can pick any. The fruit trees, I won't be touching those this month. I will just be leaving all my fruit bushes to themselves at the moment. We're very lucky to have manure delivered on the allotment, and we've just put some over the allotment again, so that it feeds it for next year. We will be covering the allotment, and we'll be showing you that in a minute, because one of the reasons we cover the allotment is because most people are busy. If you've got all the time in the world, you don't need to cover your allotment because you can keep digging it and pulling out the weeds. But the reality is, even though at the moment nothing's growing, as soon as the spring kicks in and things start to sow, the weeds just grow incredibly quickly. And in my experience, if I cover my allotment during the winter, I just literally lift it when it gets time to start planting, and it makes life an awful lot easier. If we move down the allotment a bit more. So I've still got a few things I can keep picking. I've got a few beetroots, a little bit of spinach. I've got some kale there. I've just pulled some kale this morning, and I've also dug some leeks. Just a word of warning, when it's really, really cold, it's really easy to break plants, especially when you're digging out root vegetables, or depending where you live in the country, you might not even be able to dig out root vegetables at the moment. So just be really careful when you do it, because you don't want to break them off. But I was able to dig mine, so I've got some food for the next week, which is brilliant. My purple sprouting here is actually starting to sprout, so it's planned to warm up here next week, so a few warm days on that and I can start picking that, which is really quite exciting. So that's what I'm doing up the allotment today. And when it comes to planting seeds, there's a lot of people saying, like, what can I plant now? Can I plant seeds? You can plant seeds in a propagator indoors. Personally, I wait until February, purely because you've got loads of time. There's no rush, and the earlier you start it off, the longer you've got to look after it before you can put it outside, because all the plants you start off from seed inside, they're not gonna stand the frost, and it's going to be ages until you can put them out, so it's longer for you to look after them. What you can be doing at the moment is sourcing all your seeds and your potato sets and your onion sets, and planning where you're going to put everything. And one of the most important things to bear in mind, I'm really lucky, I've got an allotment, I've got lots of space, so I can plant pretty much everything I want to plant. If you've not got a lot of space and you want to plant plant some things for the first time, I would advise growing things that grow lots of things off of it, like tomatoes. If you grow a tomato, you get lots of tomatoes off one plant. Runner beans, climbing French beans and climbing runner beans is the same thing. If you start planting potatoes or even strawberries, they take up such a lot of ground space, and if you haven't got the space, you're just going to waste space and not get a lot for what you put in. And also planting in pots. Planting in pots is absolutely fine, but bear in mind the watering that it takes. So again, if you can plant in the ground, it's much easier, because your long-term maintenance is a lot easier. But if you can only plant in pots, then only plant in pots. Do whatever you can do. So there's a few helpful tips. So an update, we've covered what we can with the weed suppressant that we've got. This is specially designed for putting on an allotment. Some people use plastic sheeting or carpet. You can do that, but it's just really messy. It doesn't let the water through very well. The really good thing about this is when you cover the ground, it actually lets the water go through, so it waters underneath, which then makes it really easy to dig in the spring when you lift it. We do this because my husband and I, we have our own business, so we haven't got time to be up here weeding and doing that sort of thing. And we're really lucky to be able to work from home at the moment, which is really great, which does mean we do have time to come up here. One thing I will say is I've been putting some manure down. Don't put manure down where you're going to put something like root vegetables like parsnips or carrots, because it will make them fork. So I've left an area where I know that's where I'm going to put those vegetables, and I've not manured it. So if we move up the allotment, and I can show you how we've done with the composter. Follow me up. My husband's been hard at work because obviously I've not done all this on my own. I've been really lucky to have someone helping me. So as we move up, we'll move up to see the magic that's happened with the composter. While I was laying the sheeting down, my husband's been busy digging this, and he explained that it's harder than working at the gym. So there's a bonus. If you can't get to the gym, you can dig over your composter. So as you can see, he's moved each lot of compost into each bin. So a little bit more to dig out there, but it has been quite hard work, so we're going to let him have a bit of a break, and he'll do that next time we're up here. So I hope what I've shown you has been really, really useful, and if you want any more helpful hints and tips, then please follow me on my YouTube channel.